Welcome to Cycle Live. I'm your host, Nathan Hale. Today, we have another great episode for you, covering all of today's top news stories, all the ones that you really want to hear about. My gosh, we got so much to get in. Today is Friday, July 18th, 2025. And boy, oh boy, is it a beautiful day outside to be covering the news in this great, beautiful country that we live in today. So I gotta tell you folks, we got a lot to cover, like I said. You know, I love covering the news for you. I love finding the stories that might not always show up on all the other little commentator shows out there. You know, if you want to, we all have our own little niche. If you want to go and hear about Jewish politics and how that works, go listen to Ben Shapiro. If you want to go listen to some snark and some comedy, go listen to Dave Rubin. I love them both. But if you want to hear stories that neither of them are going to cover, the ones that I actually find really fascinating, come listen to Spin Cycle. We got it right here on this show. Not that their shows are bad or anything. I'm not dissing on them or anything, but I feel like there's only so often that you can talk about the woke stuff happening on the left before it just gets to be ridiculous. We gotta talk about everything that's happening in the world. It's not just an echo chamber of what's the next crazy thing the left is doing out there. There's crazy things on the right also, mind you. But we got lots to cover and not enough time to do it. We packaged this show up into a nice little, hopefully around 30-minute little segment for y'all. 4 to 5 stories a week, in case you weren't familiar with the format. You can watch this show on YouTube, Rumble, and on X, of course. That's our biggest platform right now. But please go and watch on YouTube and Rumble if you like the show. It's way better over there. I mean, X is fine and all, but the streaming just isn't the same on the other platforms. Highly recommend you go watch on the other platforms. You miss an episode, you won't go rewatch an episode, you can see them all there. We're posting TikToks. We got TikToks up. Go follow us on TikTok. I'm at HomoNation on all those different platforms. Also go on my Instagram as well. If you're a big Instagram user, I'm also at HomoNation on those platforms. But with that, let's go ahead and jump right in to our very first story of this week. It comes from the Daily Wire. So probably the biggest news story, and you know, I said we cover stories no one else covers. We're always going to cover whatever the biggest things that are happening out there are. This has got to be one of them. So the White House reveals medical condition causing swelling in Trump's legs. So if you didn't already know, there were some photographs that came out that showed some bruising, some swelling around Trump's ankles. People are getting super concerned and worried about that. So here's what the White House has to say about it. The White House addressed speculation around President Donald Trump's swollen legs and bruised right hand on Thursday. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Trump underwent medical testing and received a diagnosis of chronic venous insufficiency in his legs, but remains in good health. Quote, I know that many in the media I know that many in the media have been speculating about bruising on the president's hand and also swelling in the president's legs, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters on Thursday's press briefing. Quote, so in the effort of transparency, the president wanted me to share a note from his physician with all of you today, she said. Leavitt read a memo from Dr. Sean Barbella, a Navy doctor who serves as physician to the president. Barbella wrote in recent weeks, Trump noted, quote, in mild swelling in his lower legs, and the president's concern was thoroughly evaluated by the White House medical unit and the abundance of caution. Ultrasounds to assess blood flow in both his legs found chronic venous insufficiency, which the president's physician called a common condition, particularly individuals over the age of 70. Chronic venous insufficiency involves blood pooling in the legs, sometimes causing varicose veins that can be caused by prolonged standing. Trump also underwent blood work. He had a whole blood work panel done for a whole bunch of different conditions. And an echocardiogram also showed normal cardiac structure and function, and all of his blood tests said the results were within normal limits. Quote, importantly, there was no evidence of deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease, Barbella wrote. Quote, no signs of heart failure, renal impairment, or systemic illness were identified. So, I gotta say, what a change of this administration to tell us what is happening with the president versus all the other times in the past, right? We've been sitting here wondering what ailments affected Joe Biden for the past 4 years of his presidency, with the entire government telling us, oh, he's fine, don't worry about it, everything is okay, nothing is wrong with Joe Biden. Even though he fell off a bike, he's falling downstairs, he's getting lost in the Rose Garden, he doesn't know where to walk off stage, he's forgetting his lines at the debate, don't worry about it, he's okay, there's nothing wrong with him at all, don't worry about it. Versus, I think we had about a day or so that went by where I saw the photographs of Trump's ankles, and then that might have been either yesterday or the day before, honestly. And the next day, we have information about it. We know exactly what it is. We have a physician who checked him out and told us the truth about what has happened to our president. Case closed, right? He's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. He's in perfect mental capacity to be executing his job. He's got some blood in his ankle. He's an old guy. Now, I've always been critical of having older folks, such as Trump, in office. That includes Democrats and Republicans, for that matter. I think that we have too many old people in government right now. But where I'm really critical is when they don't have the mental capacity to do the job. Joe Biden clearly did not have the mental capacity to do the job, right? You can be a young guy and have chronic ailments that don't affect your mind and allow you to execute the office of the president perfectly willingly. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was in a wheelchair his entire presidency, for that matter, right? He had polio. And, he was able to execute the office of the president just fine. He was a highly effective president. I don't think he was that great of a president, personally speaking. But that's a whole nother story. But my point being, it's one thing to have a president like Trump who's got some blood in his ankles. It's another issue to have a president like Joe Biden who literally has dementia, who has cancer, who, appears that he could just drop dead at any moment, right? I mean, I think a lot of us as Americans felt that way looking at Joe Biden for the past 4 years and thinking, my God, what are they shooting this guy up with? Whatever they're giving Joe Biden, I want it too. Because he looks like he's just having a time of his life, right? The last thing to note is that the reason why it's so important to have the mental capacity, aside from, obviously you have to know what you're doing to be the president, is that there's no elder abuse happening, right? No one's bossing Trump around to go and do anything, right? Melania isn't wheeling him out on a dolly to get up on stage and talk, right? That was what happened to Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden was basically running the show the past at least year or two of his presidency, as far as I'm concerned. It's elder abuse, right? They kept Joe Biden in office long after he should have been there. He should have been spending those days with his kids, right? Trump is all there in the head, right? He's not, impaired in any way. So, I feel bad for the guy that's having to deal with this, but I would hardly say it's a national emergency that many Democrats would like to say that it is. So that's all I got to say about that. All right, let's move on to our next story. So this comes from the Daily Signal. We go from the Daily Wire to the Daily Signal. Lots of dailies out there. I always think it's funny, the names of these publications. All right, so House cuts funding from NPR, PBS, and foreign aid. House Republicans passed a bill defunding foreign aid and public broadcasting shortly after midnight on Friday. In the first legislative codification of President Donald Trump's cuts to discretionary spending, quote, "This isn't the end, it's the beginning," wrote Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. After passage, quote, "We're looking forward to passing additional rescission bills throughout the 119th Congress. President Donald Trump cheered the passage on the social media platform Truth Social, writing, quote, "Republicans have tried doing this for 40 years and failed, but no more. This is big." The rescission package, which targets funding for the U.S. Agency of International Development as well as for National Public Radio and the Public Broadcasting Service, was passed by a 216 to 213 margin. Representatives Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania and Mike Turner of Ohio were the only Republicans to join all Democrats in voting against the bill. Under law, a president can withhold funding for 45 days, at the end of which Congress must cut the funding or will have to be spent. This gave Congress a July 18th deadline, that's today, to pass the bill. Republicans in the House passed a version of the bill, which the Senate had amended to exclude cuts to PEPFAR, PEPFAR, an AIDS prevention program. This brought cuts down from $9.4 billion to $9 billion. Still a lot. $400 million in AIDS prevention, I think, is a good use of money. I don't think, and like I said, no one deserves to have AIDS if this helps keep people from getting it. Money well spent as far as I'm concerned. But $9 billion is still a lot of money to be cut. Is it a lot in the grand scheme of things when we have $36 trillion in debt right now? No, it's not. It's a drop in the bucket. But is it a step in the right direction? Yes. Yes. I'd rather see government cutting money than spending more of it. So I'm glad to see that things are being cut. Or at least spending money more effectively. Right? Is it a better use of money to spend $9 billion on public service broadcasts or $9 billion on the Iron Dome to protect Americans? I would say $9 billion to protect Americans on the Iron Dome, better use spending, but that's just me. I don't particularly like the milksop of a puppet that is Elmo and Friends. So, get rid of it. Fine with me. Quote, Representative Chip Roy, a Republican who represents the Texas Hill Country area, devastated by recent floods on Thursday, quote, "It took NPR through Texas Public Radio 19 hours to post anything about the flooding on its social media. The 7 private stations post over 70 alerts on their social pages throughout the day. They were there for the people of Texas. They were there presenting the information necessary, and the public stations were completely MIA." Great point, right? What is the real reporting being done by NPR, by public broadcasting, right? What are Americans really getting out of this? Is it not just a propaganda wing of the left at this point? I mean, can any of you who are watching this show genuinely say that you would trust and sit down and expect to get a fair understanding of the latest news from NPR, from PBS, from any of these public broadcasting services? Can you honestly say that? In my opinion, I don't think you can. I frankly don't think you can if you're a leftist or if you're on the right. And I'll tell you why. Public broadcasting is funded by the government, right? And the government in power right now is a Republican one. If you're a leftist and you hate Trump and you fear him, wouldn't you be concerned that they would commandeer the public broadcasting networks and push Trump's messaging across all of those? Wouldn't you be worried about that? If you're a Republican, you already know this is an issue. You already know that these public broadcasting services are nothing more than pushing left-wing talking points and bashing on Republicans. So defund them. I don't care. There are plenty of areas out there to get your news now that are perfectly fair and balanced. I think we do a great job on this show of giving you fair and balanced news. I say it as it is, right? I'm a guy, I read a news story, I'll tell you what I think about it. I'm more of a conservative than I am a liberal, but when it comes down to it, I'm still just an American. I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to be honest with you all, right? I don't have an agenda to push. My agenda is giving you good news stories and telling you what I think about them. So take it or leave it. I think a lot of other broadcasters out there and commentators do have an agenda to push, regardless of one way or another what that is, right? They're trying to push these super conservative points or these super liberal points. I don't think there's a whole lot in the middle, to be honest with you. So I think people like me who give you an honest, fair take on this, I'm not getting paid by anyone to do this. I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart because I enjoy doing it for you all. I think that we're few and far between. And for the record, I would never change the way that I report on the news, regardless of the amount of money I was being paid to do so. Not that I'm being paid any right now, but even if I was, I would still give you fair, balanced news coverage, try and give you a perspective across the platforms, and give you my honest takes on what's actually happening in the news today. So that's my promise to you as a commentator, and I respect you all watching the show. I appreciate every single one of you. You have no idea how much I appreciate every single person who watches the show. We have more and more every single week, and it just blows my mind the fact that so many of you want to listen to me talk. But talk more I shall. Let's move on to our next story. This is from the New York Post. House passes trio of crypto bills. Here's what it means for the future of digital currency. House lawmakers passed the most significant legislation regarding digital currency to date Thursday, approving a trio of bills at revamping the nascent industry. Lawmakers approved the bipartisan Genius Act, which establishes a framework for overseeing the $238 billion stablecoin market. Cryptocurrency that is pegged to hard assets like the US dollar. In a 308 to 122 vote, the measure is intended to pave the way for banks and other financial institutions to issue stable coins, giving consumers more options about where to put their wealth. Critics have warned that the new regulatory framework gives the government too much power over crypto. May endanger the industry's decentralization and could lead to certain stablecoins getting unfair regulatory treatment over others. Critics say the Federal Reserve or other government entities could impose massive surveillance capabilities to monitor crypto transactions, similar to practices in countries like China that have central bank digital currencies. In response to opposition from some Republicans, House GOP leadership agreed to take up a separate measure called the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, which passed 218 to 210 in a near party line vote. The House also took up and passed the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, which tackles ambiguity between crypto and other digital assets in a 294 to 134 vote. The act is meant to clarify the responsibilities that the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Commonalities Feature and Trading Commission have when it comes to the regulation of crypto and other digital assets. David Sachs, the Trump administration's AI and crypto czar, was a key backer of the suite of legislation and cleared the House. Here's a picture of David Sachs in case you forgot what he looks like. It delegates the responsibilities based on how the digital assets are used, attempting to resolve long-standing questions of uncertainty over what each agency's tasks are with the nascent technology. All three bills were considered as part of what has been dubbed Crypto Week, as part of a legislative push to make good on Trump's pledge to support the growing industry. So I'm a big fan of crypto. I think that crypto has a lot of potential out there. Would I personally invest money in crypto? No, I don't right now. I can't say I would do it in the future unless I had a lot of money I was looking to invest and diversify my portfolio a lot. I can't say I would. I think it's a bit risky. But just because I think it's risky and I wouldn't necessarily invest in it doesn't mean that I don't think it should be available to people to invest in it, and people should have the option to, right? If you want to risk your money in that way and potentially get a high return on it, absolutely. And government should be doing all it can to protect you as the buyer of cryptocurrency from making sure you're not getting scammed into getting something, and try and make it as effective as possible. So I don't have an issue with it. There was a comment in there about government oversight watching what you're buying with crypto. Guys, the government is already watching our every move, right? The government already knows what all of your credit card transactions look like. I mean, we heard about all those stories of, what was it, Capital One flagging people who were buying guns or something, like they were buying ammunition. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I felt like it was some bank that was like that. And the government's already watching what you're buying, right? When it comes down to the end of the day, cash will always be king. Cash is untraceable. I think that there should be a bigger push to keep cash as a circulating currency. I think that cash is slowly dying out. I personally don't carry any cash with me at all anymore, right? I really don't. I I would much rather use my credit card for everything and just be done with it. So I like the convenience of it, but I see the necessity in having cash, and I see that some people wouldn't want to buy, wouldn't want anyone knowing about something being traced back in one way or another. Whether if you're buying a firearm, if you're buying gold, right? If you're buying these precious metals and stuff, you might want to use cash to purchase those, and not have any trace that you own those objects, right? Aside from the necessary documents that you need to obtain to get some of them, right? So I'm not so concerned with the surveillance of what people are buying using crypto. I'm sure it's already happening now. But I think it's a good idea that the government's at least looking at this and trying to be proactive and get people out there and make crypto a better option for people to invest in. So I'm a fan of it. If you disagree, if you don't like what these bills are saying, tweet at me. Let me know. I'd love to hear more about what this is. I'm not super familiar with everything it has to do with crypto. I'm not a big crypto guy like that. So if any of you are big crypto guys, tell me why this is good or tell me what's bad. I'd love to hear. So yeah. Last story comes from the Stratus Times. So Netflix says it used generative AI in Argentine TV series. Los Angeles Netflix said on July 17th that it used generative artificial intelligence to produce visual effects that appeared for the first time on screen in one of its original series, employing a technology that has been a source of anxiety throughout Hollywood. Co-chief executive Ted Sardanos hailed AI as, quote, an incredible opportunity to help creators make films and series better, not just cheaper. Mr. Sarandos offered the example of Argentine science fiction series El Amaretto, where the creators wanted to show a building collapse in Buenos Aires, a visual effect that would have been beyond the project's budget. The creative team partnered with Eyeline Studios, a production innovation group within Netflix, to make the dramatic scene with the aid of AI. Quote, the VFX sequence was completed 10 times faster than it could have been completed with visual traditional VFX tools and workflows, Mr. Sardano said during the company's second quarter investor call. And also, the cost of it wouldn't have been feasible for a show in that budget. Mr. Sardano said the sequence is the first generative AI final footage to appear on screen in a Netflix original series and film. I think this is really interesting. I'll tell you why. I think that AI is going to revolutionize a whole lot of different industries across the board. My concern is that the job loss from it, particularly in these highly specialized fields, is going to be astronomical. Because if we're producing these huge, big budget scenes that would have taken humans 10 times longer to make, and we're doing it with a computer for free or for very low cost, when are all VFX going to become AI generated, right? What is going to happen to all those artists, all those VFX artists who are out there right now and need jobs? right? They went to school for years to become a VFX artist. They've been doing this job for a long time. Where are they going to go now? So I'm interested to see what is going to happen going forward with AI and government putting some guardrails. And I know we get worried, oh my god, government putting guardrails on things. We don't usually like government intervention. But with things like this, I think it is worth some intervention. I'll tell you what I think. Don't jump to the keyboard yet. I think that having some guardrails and saying, hey, we're more than happy to let you use AI to produce these really long, drawn-out scenes, right? And this could even be, the Hollywood unions getting together and saying this. I'd be interested to see what they have to say. And saying, hey, use AI all you want for these huge scenes, but we should have some guardrails on when you can and cannot use AI to do stuff, right? So maybe it's okay to use AI to do these huge scenes that would have taken a really, really long time to produce, and they're really expensive. But maybe it's not okay to use AI for the ones that are less expensive, right? I don't know, something like that. So I think some guardrails need to be put in place for how companies can use AI in products that they're selling, right? So it's one thing to say, whoa, look how cool this computer is, and it made this whole thing. Well, it's awesome. I think it's another thing to say, hey, the entertainment that we're consuming, the products we're getting, they're all being made by computers now. That I think is a little bit scary. And that I think takes away some of the human element of our entertainment and our products as a whole. So you live more. There are lots of companies right now who are putting artwork on their products that are using artificial intelligence to create that artwork. It's not actual human-made artwork. It's a computer that drew it up, right? So they're selling these products for lots of money. They're making a killing on it. They didn't pay an artist to make it. They're not having to pay royalties to an artist long-term for the amount of product they sell with that artwork on there. It's a win-win for the company. But it sucks if you're an artist. And I frankly just don't think that we should be allowing companies to just put computer generated artwork on all these products that they're selling and pass it off as like, oh, look, this pretty artwork, when you could have just as easily hired a human to have drawn up that piece of artwork for you that you put on that tote bag or on that iPhone case or whatever it is, right? So I like to look out for my fellow artists. I'm an artist myself. If I got wind that a company was using AI for the artwork on there, I wouldn't want to buy their products. And this could be a case of let's just see how the free market reacts to it. But I really don't think that the market as a whole cares all that much about AI usage. But I'm concerned about where all these great artists going to go to when they're just being let go and they no longer have work because all their jobs have been replaced by the computers. What are they going to do? So it's going to be an interesting challenge going forward to see how government responds, how workers' unions respond to all of this. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Well, that's all for today's episode, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I know that I did. We're going to have more for you on Monday when it comes down to it. We have so many more stories to cover. There's always more stuff to talk about in the news every single day of the week. We'll be back next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. More episodes for you. More Spin Cycle. I hope you haven't gotten sick of me yet. So we like to package these nice little packages for you all. We keep it fun. We keep it spicy. We keep it tight for you all. This episode's only 30 minutes right now. Nice, quick. You got 4 great news stories to kind of brighten your day a little bit. Some interesting things to think about, to ruminate on. But tell me what you like about the show. Tell me what you don't like about the show. Tweet at me on Twitter. I'm at HomoNatian. I see them all. Let me know. Send me a message. They're open. And yeah. So share the show with friends. Let people know that this guy right here has got the best opinions on the internet. He's got the loudest mouth, 2 of them all. And we'll be back here on Monday with another show. So follow me at HomoNatian on all the platforms, X, Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, TikTok, all of them. And yeah, that's all from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. And we will see you back here on Monday with the next episode of Spin Cycle Live. I will see you then. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Thank God it's Friday. And with that, I have been Nathan Hale. This has been Spin Cycle Live. Peace out. Bye.